So, if you're new here, hi, hope my rambling didn't scare you off. I do have a creepy story for you. Please subscribe to my channel if you like creepy, spooky, weird, cult, other dimensions, superstitions, stuff like that. And if you like makeup, because I do my makeup a lot, I do a lot of hauls, subscribe to my channel. Push the like button and share, because sharing is caring. So the lighting sucks. I apologize. My eyelashes are like hanging on by a thread. So if I look like I'm wonky, it's because I can't do makeup anymore because I've had the vid, and apparently I don't know how to put myself together anymore. Like, doesn't this eye look funny? Okay, you know what? Let's just continue. So, today's story is coming from Australia. So there's a lot of cults called the family. Like, get a new name, guys. But this is the Australian, the family, ran by Anne Hamilton Byrne. So, Anne Hamilton Byrne was born Miss Evelyn Grace Victoria Edwards on December 30th, 1921. I did not find out why she changed her name to Anne Hamilton. I know Byrne is her husband's last name. I think that Evelyn Grace was a really pretty name, so I don't know why she would change it. Like, Evelyn's nice, and then Anne's like, so it's more common. Not that it's like not a nice name, but whatever. My opinion. She was born December 30th, 1921. Her parents were Ralph Edwards and Florence Hoyle. Now, Ralph Edwards was in and out of the family. Like, they were married, but he was gone a lot of the times. He would just come and go as he pleased. Some people say that he was actually hiding and running from some debt. I don't know if that's true, but that's a rumor that I did see on one of my resources. Also, her mother, Florence, was said to have been dealing with schizophrenia. And her mom even set her hair on fire once, not Anne's hair, but her own hair on fire once. And so she was, in and out of institutions. They had 7 kids together, guys. 7 kids. So Anne was the oldest of these kids, and she, for the most part, would take on the mother role because her mom, if she wasn't in an institution, she was having troubles at home because she was so, she had mental problems that she needed to deal with, and then she got all these kids. So Anne took on the mother role, so she, she had a lot of responsibility. Let's see. She had paranoid schizophrenia. I wanted to make sure I was giving you guys the right diagnosis. At 20 years old, Anne did marry a guy named Lionel Harris, and she had with him her one and only biological child. Her name was Judith, and she was born in 1943. Now, in 1955, Lionel and Anne decided, they wanted to open up their home to another child through adoption. However, shortly before this was supposed to occur, Lionel got into a really bad car accident and he passed. And back in these days, adoption was only considered for married couples. So unfortunately, Anne could not proceed and adopt another child. So that was unfortunate. Or that potential adopted kid dodged a real bullet, if you want to. Just wait. Okay, so Anne became heavily involved with yoga and claimed, this I gotta read because this is a quote, And she claimed that she could contact spirits. She even said, I quote her, I channel demonic spirits with powers to control and influence the lives of others, to bend them to my will, to prove to be inspired from the pits of hell. I'm just going to let that sink in. Okay, Anne, let's just calm down, Anne. I'm going to leave my opinions for the end. I'm going to try. So anyways, at 40, she had plastic surgery. She wanted to stay looking young. She always had her hair like a bleached blonde, and she stayed out of the sun. She was very, careful to not look aged and to have beautiful bleached blonde hair, whether it be bleaching her own hair or wearing a bleached blonde wig. In 1962, she met a man named Rayner. She actually inserted herself in his life. She visited his home and informed him that she knew he was going on a trip with his wife. And she said that the spirits had told her that his wife would become very ill on this trip. And I don't really know what Rayner thought, while she's just coming randomly to his house and saying these things. I don't really know. It doesn't say, but it does say that Rayner did go on this trip with his wife, and his wife actually did become very ill with dysentery, and so ill, in fact, they did come back from the trip early, and it took her months to heal completely. And that is when he committed himself to Anne. He saw Anne as Christ, because that's what she claimed to be. She claimed to be the reincarnated Christ. So he was her very first follower, which made Anne very lucky because he was a very influential man. So Rayner, being an influential physicist, was known later, she would call him the John Baptist of her movement. They gained over 500 followers. Most were very prominent people. They were doctors, they were lawyers, they were nurses, there were social workers, and they had money. Anne became known for having many places that she owned. She had a lot of money because these people, I wasn't sure if there was a registration fee, I don't know what's going on, why they gave her money, but they gave her money, as most cult leaders get their followers to do for whatever reason. They did. They were even so obsessed with her, or they believed in her so much to be Jesus Christ, that she would talk them into sometimes divorcing certain wives, leaving their family members to come follow her, but also divorcing their wives and marrying other people because she's Jesus, and so she knows who they should be married to. Yada yada yada. That's how she got them to be. I don't know, guys. I don't know how these things happen. But anyways, she would tell them that there was going to be a World War III. It was going to destroy everybody in the world except the people that would follow her. So, obviously, they followed her. Probably also in fear. She was very charismatic, but they were fearful, so they said, okay, we're going to follow you. So they would be the only survivors, and then they would teach the future people how to live and how to follow Anne. That's how it was going to be after, all of us heathens died. So, anyways, later on, she would start adopting children. She adopted 28 children, and let me tell you how she adopted these children. She adopted children from unwed mothers, unwed teenage mothers, I mean, back then, even some people that were just unwed and at an older age, it was frowned upon, whatever, to have a kid out of wedlock, so they would let her have the children. She would also take some of the babies from the families in her own cult. And so she had 28 in all, and this was all bogus. It was illegal, but she was able to do this because, like I said, she had such a prominent following. The lawyers and the family would help her. The doctors in the family would be delivering the babies. They would actually tranquilize the mothers while they were having the babies, just to take them immediately, not let them see the baby, not let them change their mind, because, these babies were ants. And then Anne would have these children. She had these 28 children illegally. False birth certificates, all this stuff, because rich people can do whatever the fuck they want. And that's what they did. So Anne took these kids. She dyed all of their hair like bleach blonde, like fucking Children of the Dam. Do you guys know that movie from back in the day? It's like from a book, Children of the Dam. That's all I can think when I see these kids. I'll pop a picture up above somewhere. Yeah, remember the Children of the Dam? They had those like bleach white wigs, and they were like the devil's kids. And I think Christopher Reeves played in that movie. Okay, we're going off the subjects. I'm sorry. Anyways, so Anne would do that. She said so they all looked alike. They all thought they were from her. They were the biological children, okay? They did not know they were adopted. She did not tell them that. All the other followers, all the women were called the aunts, and all the men were called uncles. The woman would watch the children and beat them if they disobeyed or, questioned any kind of authority, had any kind of questions. They just would beat them. They would even subject them to like a form of waterboarding. They would have them under the water if they disobeyed, something real simple or disagreed with them. Put them under the water for 20 to 30 seconds until they admitted they're wrong. They would beat them. They would also give these kids LSD. When they turned 14, all the kids would be initiated into the group by taking LSD and other drugs such as Valium, Halidol. So they would get locked in a room at 14. They would give them the LSD so they would trip, but Anne would go in there, check on them, and also give them other drugs to make them stay calm as they trip. Ridiculous. I mean, the members also, and Anne also, were heavily into the LSD. That's when she got all of her, great spiritual knowledge, other than the deep meditation of yoga. It isn't like drugs against kind of like yoga. People that do yoga, do they really, and then you go do LSD, isn't that kind of like a conflict? I feel like it is. Because also, she made these kids be vegan. So, like, you're trying to make these kids live a healthy life. They'd wake up at 5 or 6 a.m. every single day. She would have them do yoga. She would have them on a vegan diet. They'd get beat. They'd get waterboarded. I mean, I don't understand. But anyways, so yeah. They would get beat quite often. There was one girl who would always just get on Anne's damn nerves because she would question her, she would disobey, and Anne would beat her or have her beat frequently, and she would not even like budge. She would not admit fault. She was very rebellious, and she would not show pain. And so Anne finally said, you know what? Get the fuck out of here. And this little girl's name, well, she was 17 at the time that she got kicked out, was Sarah. And Sarah and two other children of Anne's went to authorities, and the authorities were going to go and they were going to arrest Anne for, child abuse and falsifying documents such as the birth certificates. And when they went, she had fled. She had left all of her kids that she loved so fucking much and fled with her husband, Bill. And her and Bill were on the run for about 7 years. Finally, they got caught up in New York City, and we in the United States sent her back to her country in Australia, and the only thing they could charge her on was like the birth certificate falsification documents, and they set her fine at $5,000, which Anne had bank from her followers, because her followers were still helping her out as she was gone. They were with, a lot of them were with her till her death. So that was nothing. That was like $5 to her probably. So she paid the $5,000, didn't spend a day in jail. There's kind of a bright side. This might be mean to say to some people, whatever. The bitch got dementia, okay? So she suffered from dementia for years after that, and she finally passed away. Let me see. June of 2019 at 98 years old. So she sort of suffered. She was even on 48 Hours a few years back, and you could tell that she was deteriorating. She was forgetting things. She wasn't making sense during her interview whatsoever. I went and watched it. You can look it up on YouTube. It was weird. She's a weird lady. I mean, obviously. So what happened to the children? Well, obviously the children grew up. A lot of them had a hard time just blending in with society, which you can't blame them because they grew up homeschooled. They thought all of outsiders were going to hell. They were evil. So they didn't, even Anne had even a secret tunnel where she'd have people hide when like people went and knocked on the door that were outsiders. She even told the kids, if police ever come up, go hide in these tunnels because they're evil and they're going to try to brainwash you. Yeah, because you know about that, don't you, Anne? Anyways, so a lot of them, they had trouble blending in, which obviously, but what's really sad is I couldn't get a definite number. I looked it up, but several of them did commit suicide, which is like, her whole purpose. She acted like she loved these kids, and then she treated them like shit. And I don't understand. She would starve them. She would beat them. Oh, she would even like do weigh-ins, and they were vegan. And then if they weighed like an amount that she didn't appreciate, which whatever that was, I wish I would have found out what that was. I could not. She would just starve them for days. Like they couldn't even eat their little fucking rabbit food. I don't understand. So, final thoughts. Finally, my opinion, my thoughts. I feel like Anne was mentally insane. I think it's, it is known to be genetic mental illness. And I think obviously she got it from her mother. I mean, even from her father's actions of being in and out of her life, he could have been mentally ill as well. And I think, she was mentally ill. She was not getting any kind of medication. She was not getting any kind of counseling. She obviously had narcissistic behaviors. And because she was so charismatic and convincing, these people just fell for it. She found one person, you know, the one Bill, not Bill, that was her husband. The one person who was influential, that was her first follower, and that was fucking lucky, because then he could get, you know, other people to follow her that were in his class. And, you know, it's just a recipe for disaster. You know, and I think he was looking for something that he needed and wanted, and all these other people, obviously, when you join something like this organization, you are looking for something. You're not all there. So that's just my opinion. Go ahead and let me know if you enjoyed this true story of Miss Ann Hamilton Byrne. I'm lost for words. She's creepy. Therefore, I had to do a story on her. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. If you liked this, push like and share. Sharing's caring. I'm sorry my eyelashes are bothering me. I'm going to take these bad boys off and make some dinner. I hope you guys all have a beautiful day. Love you. Thank you so much for joining me. Bye.